I still want to go on Tefillah.
We already did Tefillah.
When?
Last night. Yeah, just a couple.
You went here last night.
No, not last night. A couple nights ago.
No, that was a bad cheer.
What was it? It was the one that was like the topic of the power of Tefillah.
Right.
What made it a bad cheer?
The bad cheer is that many people left Judaism as a result of that cheer.
Are you serious?
I know many, but...
Very dense.
What? Yes.
Wow.
People were very...
It was a very upsetting cheer, but
yeah.
People actually left?
I know people left, literally, but people were disturbed by it.
What was this disturbing cheer?
Right, so... want to try and give some things which are to counter, not so much counterbalance because
it hasn't helped so far.
It hasn't helped so far. I tried last night; it didn't go very well, but we're going to try again tonight. And we're going to do since we're going to go through a few Reb Tzaddiks here. So the first one I want to go through from Reb Tzaddik has to do with why our tefillos don't seem to be accepted. And this is in Tzidkas HaTzadik Simukuf Mem Gimel. The Tzaddik says, when a person starts learning or starts serving Hashem, with serving Hashem in his heart, which is davening, Hashem is Baruch Meir Lo. Hashem gives him a flash of illumination at the beginning. At the very beginning of a person's derech, when a person first begins to realize that they want to serve Hashem, he has tremendous illumination. Like it says, the beginning of your words will be illuminated. Now, any thoughts and any ratzon, any will, Torah v'avodah, which is for Torah or serving Hashem, nikra dvarecha. It's called the word of Hashem. When David Melech says Rosh Pesach dvarecha yoyer, he's talking about Hashem's words. But my arousal to Torah and Avodas Hashem is the words of Hashem. Because he says, Hashem Yisborach medaber im ha'adam. God is speaking to man. Ve'elu ha'machshavas nasim mizeh. And the machshavas come from that. Elsewhere he says that's the baskol, which comes out from Har Sinai every day, which says, there are a couple of baskols, a couple of voices which come from Har Sinai, would say that we should do tshuva or we should come back to Hashem. So Baskol, Reb Tzadok says elsewhere, it is not a sound which you hear in the air through the airwaves, but a sense which enters your heart and impacts upon you internally. So that's really what happens when a person starts being Eved Hashem. It's because they heard that Baskol, they heard that voice, they have a great illumination. And he says, "V'achar kach nistalik." Afterwards, it goes away. That light which you feel at the beginning, it departs. So what do? For eitzel is that tefillah. You have to daven. Davening is what helps.
What helps with what exactly? I'm sorry, I blanked out for a second.
To keep up the illumination.
Going back.
After davening, we say the pasuk of what's it referring to? He says, we say this word in Volat Sion. Shamra zos li olam liyetzer machshavos levav amecha. Means whatever hisorus I have, preserve it from me. Keep that hisorus, that arousal which I have. And he says, explains ki date tefillah, because through davening, nichnasim, they're entered to a person, mochin, mindsets, umachshavos and thoughts, uritzonos and wills, v'chashokos chadashos, and new yearnings in a person's heart. Now, but it's relevant to us. To a person who's davening, it's just by rote and by habit. It's a beautiful language which Yeshaya Navi uses to criticize Klal Yisrael. He says, "Vati Rasa Ma'osi," their fear of me is mitzvah sanashim lumada. It's a mitzvah which a person does out of having learned, and which is therefore become habitual behavior. So when we get up in the morning, we go to daven. Our lips mumble automatically what we're saying. They don't really think about what's going on. They certainly don't emote because we're 3/4 asleep. So therefore, our davening is habitual davening. It's rote davening. So come on here, kach. So that's how Hashem responds. If you daven blah 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 blah, there's a terrible language which you use when you're learning sometimes. You say when you want to learn fast, when you're learning fast, you say, "I'm davening it up." Oh. You've never heard such a language?
No, that's horrible.
No? Yeah.
What are you davening? I don't know what that means.
It means if you're learning a blot Gemara too fast, right? So they say you're davening the blot. Don't daven up the blot. Why? Because davening is when you're supposed to be absent-minded and just drone on, right? But he's learning, he's supposed to be learning. So it's a terrible, terrible tragedy that we have such a term, but there is such a term. So the Tzaddik says, if you daven with a drone, the answer is also with a drone. Right? You don't feel Hashem's response. Because it's just like a habit. It's something which, what it's like when you drive from point A to point B. It could be half an hour, and at the end you don't remember really how you got from point A to point B. Everybody has that feeling, right? Because when you're driving, you're kind of like most people, unless something happens, especially if you're on a highway, you go into like an autopilot mode, into a trance. And things happen almost automatically. So that's, your driving becomes habitual. When you first learned how to drive, every single part, every single step, everything after the driving required deliberate concentration and focus. But when you mastered it, like anything else, it just goes, it just flows. So our davening just goes, it flows, and therefore its response is only a go with the flow response. Nevertheless, says the Tzaddik, here's what we should have with, here's our consolation. Mikol makom, ein shum tefillah me'ish Yisraeli. There is no prayer from any Jewish person, shelo ye'aneh, which is not responded to. Rak al kol tefillah yesh aniyah. On every tefillah there is a response. Like it says, Karav Hashem l'chol karav, l'chol sheikru be'emes. Hashem is close to all those who call Him. All of them will call Him in truth. V'nemar emes l'Yaakov. And we know that emes is the meat of Yaakov. Hainu kol Yisrael. And all Klal Yisrael is called Yaakov. So therefore, we all have this Kriya El Hashem Be'emes. This Kriya El Hashem Be'emes is therefore always responded to. The response is not apparent to us because everything reflects the amount of effort we put in. So therefore, the more we put kavanah into davening, the more answer we receive, the more it's answered. The less kavanah we put into davening, the less it's answered. It's always answered. The answer is in direct proportion to what I put into it. And let's say a person wants to use davening for the purpose really of changing their mazel, right? My mazel in this world stinks. I'm poor, I'm in debt, I'm unmarried, I'm not successful, whatever it is. So I don't like my mazel. I want to change my mazel.
That's not a good thing.
I'm sorry?
That's not a good thing.
What do you mean I don't want to? What do you mean?
Morali said that the Pshat in Sukkot will say Ana Hashem Hashiana, and we go with the lulav and we shake with the lulav and the esrog, but we don't shake by Ana Hashem Hatzlichana is because by Hashir you always need Hashir, but Hatzlicha that's not that may not be good for you changing it.
You have a very strange rabbi.
Why?
Because he says things which don't make sense.
Do you understand what I said? Right?
Yes, that makes no sense.
Well, he said what I said in your language.
By all means. Ana Hashem I have to go through this year. Ana Hashem Oshiana means Hashem save me. Ana Hashem save me, Hashem give me success. Yeah. To save salvation is a legitimate request. To be successful, that's not such a legitimate request.
That's not legitimate, but you don't know whether you don't want.
Because you don't know what success is.
You don't know what's good for you.
Right, you don't know what's good for you. Do I have it?
Yeah.
It's absurd.
Why?
Because why did David HaMelech put in the words on Hashem Atzlichana?
No, good. The words are there for a reason.
What reason? They're wrong. Was David an idiot?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
But the thing is, the whole honor. I hear.
Yeah.
But the shaking, what's the shaking for? Like,
That's a good question.
so why we shake on Tzlichanan then? What's the shot?
It's Machlokes Sham and Hillel. I'm not sure why Hillel and the Hillel held not to. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But it's not because of what you're saying. It's not pshat. So, well, it's not the first time we've had a problem with your rabbi, right?
No.
Yeah.
It's a different rabbi.
Oh, different rabbi. Okay, good. Okay, so here it says very interesting thing. Sisei Laila, Tzim Mem Gimel. It says, Chazal say in Maseches Brachos, Tefillah is Dvarim Hom Dibru Masholam. For matters which stand at the top of the world. So what does it mean, top of the world? It's up here, down there. It's top of Mount Everest, right? Or it's not top of Mount Everest. It's top of Mount McKinley. What does it mean, Bru Masholam? If you're in a space shuttle, are you closer to Hashem? Is your tefillah more accepted? What's tefillah Bru Masholam? So it talks this amazing words. He says, Hainu memokom ha-mazlo. Tefillah reaches to the place from which your mazel comes from. Your mazel, or the mazel in general, comes from the highest point in the world. Meaning, this is from the initial design which HaKadosh Baruch Hu put into the world. That's the Rumah Shalom. The height of the world is the source from which everything emanates. It's above and beyond matters of this world. Wow. Tefillah can make differences in a person's mazel. This is the source of the concept of tefillah. The mazel is the recipient, I think, the conduit, by which you receive and enjoy the radiance of the Shekhinah. Tefillah goes to the source of that influence, to Hashem, who's the mashpia, who bestows this influence. And based on the extent of the influence from on high, so too are the changes. Bebonai, with having children, Chai, with having life, Umazone and sustenance, Neged Hamazel. They correspond, which come from the mazel a person has. If I ask the Kali b'mazlo, and even though it says they depend on mazel, it sounds like not through tefillah. Hainu da'yidei tefillah shemisrabe hashefa. By tefillah, the influence is increased. Harimelu mazol atzma mashpilo mashloya mikedim. So his mazel changes that which he didn't have previous influences. Him in a way which didn't influence him previously. Now it's a fascinating idea. When he says, let's say your mazel is tube number 623. Your flow comes from tube 623. So now you dive into Hashem. So the tefillah reaches above and beyond the tube. It reaches to where the source from which the tube is being filled. So he says the tefillah doesn't necessarily change your tube from 623 to 624. You're not getting the mazel from a different path, but it increases the pressure in 623. So now, since the pressure's increased 623, that too can have a ramification. Reb Tzadok, of course, had 3 wives and no children. So obviously,
He had 3 wives?
Not one after another.
Oh, okay.
Not simultaneously.
Oh, okay.
So
good life. Sorry.
So obviously you can. And Reb Tzadok wrote a sefer, Pokei Ikarim, which was really about how to have kids if you don't have kids. So obviously it doesn't work all the time. No matter how much you daven, it's not necessarily going to change your mazel. It's not going to change the tube, the pipeline. But an increase in the pipeline itself, that in and of itself can change things. Within the mazel, the rate of flow makes a difference. But then Reb Tzadok throws in a catch. Even your tefillah to change the mazel depends on mazel. Because like it says, there are times when tefillah is successful. And this goes back to the issue which we're not discussing tonight of skugulos. Skugulos are, there are times which are misugo, which means they have a unique quality for tefillah to be accepted. And they might be frequent and they might be rare. For example, he says, nobody died more than Moshe Rabbeinu. He died and died against Eretz Yisrael. For lo nana, he wasn't answered. If you didn't get an answer, then you can go in. Kigam kabbalas hashefa, because also to receive the flow, it's only according to that which is worthy, according to his roots and his portion on high. Sometimes the person who can't get more altogether, no matter what, he's up against a brick wall. There are all various different types of parameters in this. Then he goes on to say that Torah is even higher madrega. That by Torah it's possible to change things perhaps even to a greater extent. But the bottom line, which Reb Tzadok is saying here, is that it's very hard, if not impossible, to change your mazel altogether. It's possible to change the rate of mazel, the rate of the flow. And even that, there might be places where you butt up against a brick wall and you're not going anywhere. But certainly, the flow itself can be changed by the tefillah which you daven. So again, of course, it has to do with how the nature of the tefillah. Now, the nature of the tefillah in and of itself is a fascinating thing. The Tzadok says, it's an anti-Kabbalist thing we're about to see.
We're still recording, right?
What?
We're recording.
Yeah, we're quoting anti-Kabbalist stuff. We're not going to make it up.
No,
Which one is that? There's no need to make anything. No need. You don't want to make stuff up. I mean, we do want to make stuff up, but not tonight. Which volumes? I broke all 5 volumes of Torah. Right? I can't find which one is it. One is here. Oh, that's what I was going to say. Okay. So in the Sefer HaZichronos, which is Reb Tzadok's introduction to Kabbalah, or is actually his survey of the history of Kabbalah, Reb Tzadok says, listen to this one. Vulam Rova Mekubalim, most Kabbalists, and he's binding mitoch hakosel basfarim levad, who look just at Sfarim. What do we do when we learn Kabbalah, right? Now there's an incident of learning Kabbalah, people say before you're 40. Anybody ever heard of that?
Of course.
Yes.
It's hogwash.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it's hogwash.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's
Yeah, it is.
It is?
It is.
How was this? Does that have you have to know all the whole shots before you learn?
No, it's hogwash.
It's also hogwash.
Also hogwash. But
Where
why?
does hogwash come from?
I'll tell you right now. Let it go. What is this? This looks like a weapon. Is that if the Maggid Shir is no good? You hit him with that? Rav HaMekubalim, most of the Mekubalim, HaMizboinim mitoch HaKosel b'Sfarim, who only learn out of that which is written in Sfarim Levad, only out of Sfarim, below his Galus Derech HaSogas Ruach HaKodesh, without any revelation, through the perception of Ruach HaKodesh, of divine spirit, Me'olam lo tzofu v'merkava. They never saw the Ma'aser Merkava, they never grasped it. V'lo yisrael on a cloud. They never perceived its concept at all. V'kol kavonoseihem b'tefillah over mitzvahs, and all the kavanah they have in davening and in mitzvahs, l'chavein kakotzu basfarim, to have in mind what it says in Sfarim, Lo zu she'eino chiyuv. It's not just that it's not required. Elo she'ein bo to'eles klal. You have no advantage at all.
What's he saying?
You know, there's the Siddur like the Siddur Rashash, Reb Shalom Sharabi, where you down that Siddur takes 4 hours because of all the kavanos on every page which it has. So it says those kavanos are worthless.
Why they're worthless?
Because it doesn't matter what you do intellectually if it doesn't affect you spiritually. And he doesn't say this, but I'm adding at least emotionally.
What do we spiritually?
Spiritually means you have Ruach HaKodesh.
So it's worthless?
What?
Like Ramchal is like Ruach HaKodesh, no?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, like Ramchal. You have to be like Ramchal.
Yeah, you have to be like Ramchal. Right.
So only for him, such a siddur will help?
Yeah. He says for everybody else, look, it's harmful. He could lose more than he gains. Imulai, I will wait. Imulai ikoshel k'tzas. If he stumbles even a little bit, ba'naf mi'anfei hakshama, in that he might make Hashem have some sort of physical attributes. You know, that's the famous Shaila, which was asked the Rivash, which I repeated many times. The Rivash was asked by some innocent Mekubal type, to which sphere he should dive in during which bracha of Shemon Esrei. And the Rivash said that concerning this, they say that the only difference between the Christians and the Kabbalists is that the Christians only have 3 gods and the Kabbalists have 10 gods. So the person is not supposed to dive in to the spheros, right? And that's one of the dangers. Okay, so he says, anybody doesn't have the expansive wisdom, by learning, by not to make a mistake, by learning in that Chachma Kabbalah, with the language which are the Kabbalistic books employ, by Shamas Inyonim, which seem to indicate a material or spiritual existence, he should distance himself from looking at these books altogether. Okay?
So when he says somebody is Ruach HaKodesh not to learn Kabbalistic text.
Sorry?
Somebody doesn't have Ruach HaKodesh not learn Kabbalistic text.
No.
No, that's what he said?
Somebody Ruach HaKodesh, somebody does not have a capacity of Ruach HaKodesh, he should not fool himself to think he's learning Kabbalah.
Oh,
How do you get to Ruach
how's it
HaKodesh?
Ruach HaKodesh?
So what is it? When we say that a person is not supposed to try to learn Kabbalah before he's 40, that's meant that a guy should not try to accomplish Ruach HaKodesh before he's 40. What we say, you're not supposed to try to accomplish Ruach HaKodesh. Learn Kabbalah before you know Shas the place game. It means you're not supposed to try to accomplish Ruach HaKodesh before you know Shas the place game. If you're learning Kabbalah because you can say Geshmak Avort on the Parsha, if you know that Yehuda represents Malchus and Yosef represents Yisoi, and Yisoi comes in contact with Malchus and makes this, that, and the other tikkun, it's fine.
Meaning you admit that you know what you're talking about, but you think it will sound good.
No, you can even know what you're talking about as long as you're not doing it as a Ruach HaKodesh Mahalach. You're not attempting to accomplish Ruach HaKodesh. You're not worthy.
So
Why shouldn't you?
What?
Why shouldn't you try?
Because it's dangerous.
Well, it's dangerous.
Why?
Why is it dangerous? Because you can delude yourself to think you have it when you don't.
Well, I don't see the danger.
What do you mean? Shabtai Tzvi, that's the danger.
But he knew he was wrong.
He didn't know. He thought it was a Baal Ruach HaKodesh. No, he thought it was Baal Ruach HaKodesh.
Then he started changing Torah because of that. Not because he was trying to pull wool over people's.
No.
He was honestly believed that.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. He was a deranged fellow. Kabbalah makes you deranged. Remember the one of Chakika? One died. One went crazy. One became an apikoros. One Rabbi Kiva nichnas b'shalom yatsa b'shalom. Kabbalah can make you crazy. Can kill it. Can make you crazy.
Or go over there.
Oh, go off to derech. Right.
What about Frank?
Jacob Frank was also. I don't know. Jacob Frank was. I don't know if he was. He was just a jerk. I think. Yeah. I don't know. He was a Sabbatain who was even more licentious than Shabbat
It's a
Tzvi.
cold fever.
Wait, cold? So this is a read.
So how do you get Ruach HaKodesh? That's first you have to get Ruach HaKodesh and then learn Kabbalah.
No. First you have to know Shas Poskim,
Then get.
and then you can work, and you have to be 40 years old, and then you can work on getting Ruach
It
HaKodesh.
sounds like
It doesn't mean that there can't be someone who's Ruach HaKodesh at an earlier age. But if you're working on it yourself, that's what they were very afraid of. That you're going to work on it too early, you're going to start deluding yourself, and you're going to go off the deep end in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah. So my question is now, it sounds like
You should know the Kabbalah. That we learn Kabbalah, when we learn Tzaddik and things like that, what we're doing is we're learning another Mahalach in one of the Shivim Panim Torah of how to understand Chumash, how to understand Navi, how to understand Mishnayos, how to understand Agaritas in Gemara. It's a Lomdus. Just like there's Brisker Lomdus, there's Kabbalah Lomdus. Brisker Lomdus is good for Kachim and Taros. Then Telzer Lomdus is good for Nashim Nezikin. And Kabbalah Lomdus is good for Agarita. Davar Be'ito Ma'ato. Things which are in the proper place and time, they're great. So Kabbalah, in that sense, the way we use Kabbalah nowadays, we don't use it, for the most part, as a ladder on which to get to Ruach HaKodesh. That's what the Ramchal wanted us to do. The whole Mesilas Yesharim. Mesilas Yesharim is a handbook to become a prophet. How to become a prophet in 10 extraordinarily hard steps. That's what Mesilas Yesharim is.
it's not to become a better person.
No. It's not that they're similar, though. Don't think, it's not,
No, but he's basically saying what I think Al said, that you have to perfect your inner service, even if you.
yeah, but Chovos HaLevavos is not intended to get to Nevuah, what Mesilas Yesharim does. Wait till the latter prakim. That's what it's all about. Most people don't get to the latter prakim. Yeah, that's the thing. You probably won't get to the last chapters because that's what it talks about it. Yeah, what happens with me? I get depressed and fall out.
I'm already depressed, but anyways, my question is now, it sounds like, say, there's a text, there's a text, a holistic text. Now you could either read it,
or you can experience
factual knowledge,
Yeah.
and then share the factual knowledge of whatever it is you do in the factual sense. And you could read meditating or contemplating. What else are you doing with it?
You can use it in order to enter a meditative state in which you are communicating with higher realms and higher worlds.
But it would be the same text with the same amount, like you're reading the text.
Yeah, same text with a different attitude. But there's a third approach.
What was the third approach?
Third approach is to take Kabbalistic concepts and use them to understand Torah or aspects of the world in a better way. No, because the first approach, there's a middle approach, which is the most, which he's talking about, right? It's dangerous also to take kavanos out of svarim if you're using them by themselves as a derech and avodah. Because you use them as a derech and avodah, so then you can come to serve God in a form which is avodah zarah.
Right, so let's say by Meir Machlin there is a prayer for Parnasa, and there is it says that when you say this prayer for Parnasa, there's a name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu they should think of.
The name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, name of Malach.
HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Okay.
Hashem's name. One of his, I guess, Aramaic names are her. So,
Right. So the only reason why it's mutter for you to think of that name?
is it mutter or no?
Yeah, I'll tell you why. Because you have no clue what it means.
I don't know what it means, but it's
Right, so-
it's that whole thing, I guess, also.
Yeah, but it won't do any good.
So apparently that
The reason why you're allowed to think about it is because it doesn't do any good.
and according to God, okay.
Do you get that?
But really
Is it registering? Is it registered?
I don't think I'm. Wait, so
But you really should be thinking about it. I mean, like,
Right, but if you think about it, because I don't know what you're saying, so it makes it the same thing.
it doesn't help you either way.
Right.
So why is it there then?
So they printed it in Sidurim because there's some people, I guess, who once upon a time knew what to do with it. They took it from the Shloach Kodesh, where it originally was printed, and they copied it verbatim, lock, stock, and barrel. Now, and the things which the Shloach Kodesh knew how to use, they copied and put into the Siddur, even though nobody knows how to use them.
there's English on
Just
the
has a couple
side.
of them, and then
There's no English on the names of Hashem which are in there.
I know. I'm just.
Yeah.
so
You have that 22 letter name in what you call it, 22 letter in Berachos Kohanim, right? Oh, you guys don't do that,
You
right?
should look at the names, but scan the names
Yeah.
with your eyes, but not say them.
Yeah.
yes, these type of things, yeah.
That's the best.
These type of things. So what go about that?
It means you don't know. Since you don't know what it means. Go ahead, do it. Just don't say it.
But this is how could you look at
No.
it? There's no benefit.
No,
No.
No.
Question. What do you think is the place of Kabbalah in all of this?
What?
What do you think is the place of Kabbalah in all of this discussion?
Kabbalah?
Avodah and yes.
Of what?
Avodah and Torah story.
No, Kabbalah is very good for learning issues of Agadata. Issues that have to do with, the more, the non-halachic parts of Torah. Medrash, right? Things which have to do with Tanakh.
Fine. Are they real?
What do you mean
Are they
real?
real or not?
Kabbalah?
Yes.
What do you mean they?
You're saying
The concepts are real. Wait a second. The concepts are real. Taken the wrong way, they're dangerous. That's why you shouldn't be very careful. That's what I'm saying, not to use them in your tefillah unless you realize that they're all just a mashal. And that you're not supposed to be taken as literally, like dividing Hashem into 10 parts, right? That's where it's dangerous. To use it to learn a pasuk, it's okay. To use it to daven, it's very dangerous. Both of these things are not what it's all about. What it's really all about, and what's the primary purpose of Kabbalah, which is the hardest part to accomplish, which for us is, at least for all intents and purposes, beyond our grasp, is to be able to have Ruach HaKodesh through it. To have a special connection with higher realms, to learn secrets from the higher realms, to be able to communicate with Malachim.
you read it this or you're just reciting?
Do I believe it?
Yes.
I believe it, yes. The Baal Shem Tov writes.
Has been my machloket with my rabbi all the time.
What does he say?
He said that I said
You don't have the same rabbi, right?
We don't post now. We don't post him on. I told him we don't post him on Kabbalah. We don't use that as,
Right, we don't pass him.
as the basis of halacha.
Right.
But he believes.
And what?
It can be the basis of halacha.
No, yeah,
So Shabbos morning.
no, he doesn't believe that.
Shabbos morning.
No, he doesn't believe it.
No.
Shabbos.
The great post didn't believe that.
Nobody believes that.
The Kafakayim did the.
No, they don't. No, he doesn't. No, when halacha doesn't say something, so you can do a pikabala. You can't pay. It's not a psak halacha.
But the Mike says that if you're not when you're wearing your talit, if you're not wearing it over your head, it doesn't count. He just says it just doesn't count.
Why is that a problem?
Well, it's a problem.
What does the talis do?
There are some Kabbalistic functions that we don't know.
Okay, it's not halacha talis.
It's okay, but it doesn't.
What do you mean it's not halacha?
What's halacha?
There's no mitzvah in wearing a talit while you daven?
And when you wear tzitzis?
What?
When you wear tzitzis?
What?
No, he's saying
But
what
you have
you're
to-
putting on your head. Say what you the exact
No,
halacha.
okay, I don't know verbatim, but it's something along the lines of you're davening without it on your head. You just doesn't care.
You're not accomplishing according to Ben Ish Chai the purpose of wearing a talis.
But I mean, are you, in terms of function, are you doing what you're supposed to do with the talit?
What are you supposed to do with a talis?
You got part of apparently the essence of the wrapping is the head, and you don't.
If the issue is that you wear a special garment for davening, then you can be the talis is matter. It's nothing to do with putting it over your head. But let's say you have another special garment for davening, right? You have a certain jacket you always wear for davening. So now what's the person wearing a talis?
Really?
I'm not saying that. This is Ben Ish Chai's
This is
perspective.
very bizarre to me because,
Why is it bizarre?
because you would think that it's a requirement to wear
Why?
a talit while you daven shopping.
Why?
I thought everybody's supposed to do that.
I just.
Didn't everybody supposed to
you
do
just-
that? And then Ashkenazim said only marriage, but Sephardim still.
So so that thing of starting when you're married is also pikabala.
Awesome.
Yeah,
So we do stuff. But why don't we do it before marriage?
it's a kabbalistic thing.
So we don't do something.
Yeah.
Wait. So you're saying we don't do something?
They have
It's a minhag.
It's nothing to do with no. That's to do with no, not true.
That's not
The
true.
Lubavitcher Rebbe said that it's a sakana.
It counts.
Sakana. Sakana to wear a talis if you're not married.
Forget the.
You're asking me? I don't know.
Forget the sukkah thing.
It's dangerous. It's dangerous to wear a talis if you're not married.
Yeah, but say.
It's based on some Zohar
Is
somewhere.
that the reason why it's not because they didn't have the money to buy it for every single.
No, it's nothing to do with it. No.
Yes, it's the people who know much. I've heard of both people who we're talking about.
Wait, I'm still here.
You've heard this from Spartan who are ranking in Ashkenazi. Exactly.
I was. It was about sword.
Yeah, sure.
I don't understand the Minchas time because they want to put.
Because they're very poor, right? The Spartan were much richer, so they could afford it. Really?
Wait, I'm so confused about not wearing a tie.
I think we should quit while we're behind on this one.
Black kosher is also Kabbalistic. Is bacon stuff also black kosher? Is also Kabbalistic?
What?
Black kosher.
No, they
Oh, it's
don't.
not Kabbalistic. That has to do with the money.
The money?
Yeah.
The money.
The
Yes.
scarcity. Yes, you
Yes.
agree. Okay.
Yeah.
That is not Kabbalistic, but the dollars is Kabbalistic.
Yes.
Okay. It's all still money.
I'm still.
Is that a problem?
No, I'm sorry.
Right enough, Hoffer.
If
Okay,
there's
then.
scarcity in one area, if you don't have enough cows,
No, Ashkenazi want to eat more.
wool would be also scarce. But
Ashkenazi wanted to eat more meat, I'm sure. In northern countries, you need more blubber. You know, Eskimos, they almost eat exclusively meat and fish. That's almost all they eat. The further north you go, the more you need this kind of food. I assume that has something to do with it.
I'm still confused about the idea of not wearing a tally for his shafi. So I could just
Why chakras and not mincha marv?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Why?
Can you tell me?
well, you have to fulfill this Shema with your talis and
Yeah, it's this. Yeah.
You cannot see
So-
sixes at night.
So why do you have to see them at
I
night?
wear them.
Okay, so you don't have to wear them at night, but whatever mincha.
Wait. So a person doesn't have to.
The Ben Ish Chai is saying the reason to wear talis is because it's a beged miyuchad l'tefillah.
Okay.
It's a beged miyuchad l'tefillah which has an impact upon your kavanah. Has impact on your kavanah only if you wear it over your head. I assume that's his reasoning, without having seen him inside.
Okay. Right, because I only read the hach. I thought he was making some kind of halachic, thing here. Right.
The Ben Ish Chai often brings Kabbalah down in halachic issues, but not to be the basis of an outright psak, but to be the basis of a path to take in terms of how to conduct oneself.
Right, we're back to the question. Where's Kabbalah? Where do you place it? If we don't derive halacha from Kabbalah, it's only from the technical study of the Chumash. It's not derived from what the Nevi'im said. So,
The Gemara says, the Gemara in Sanhedrin says, that David HaMelech was very afraid of Doeg and Achitophel. Doeg and Achitophel were tremendous scholars who were among those who have no portion of the world to come. This in Sanhedrin. So they were contemporaries of King David. So he was very afraid of them because they were such great Talmidei Chachamim. So the Gemara says he really had nothing to be afraid of. Why? Because Rachmana liba boy. Hashem requires the heart. Hashem does not require the mind. Hashem does not require the body. Hashem requires the heart. It's another language which is used elsewhere. I think about them. Tino Haisa Belivam. There was mud in their heart. So, Judaism is not just about halacha. That's one of the major schisms which we've had throughout the years, is when people come along and say, well, Judaism is all about halacha. Judaism is not all about the heart either. It's one of the other schisms when we have people come along and say, well, Judaism is all about the heart.
it's two extremes.
Right? Two extremes, right. But Judaism is about conducting oneself according to the law, which is meant to influence one's heart. So, the Kabbalah is very satisfying in influencing one's heart, because it explains phenomena and texts in a way which makes them much more engaging, profound, significant, and therefore they have much more impact. So Kabbalah is in essence a part of Torah which is ideal, not required, but ideal to get the heart.
It's not foreign to the Bible, to the Chumash.
No.
100%.
No, the Ramban and Rabbeinu B'chai, who were Rishonim, who are big guns, they explain many things in Chumash based on Kabbalah.
Okay, fine, but this is not like using a tool that comes from one
Why is it
source.
the Ramban didn't think it was.
No, I'm asking.
No, I'm sorry. So I'm answering. Ramban didn't think it was. Ramban understood that this is an integral and integrate part of Torah.
It's integrated.
Yeah.
How do you explain that sometimes it departs from halacha?
Halacha itself departs from halacha many times. Everything in Judaism is subject to disagreement, right?
Yeah.
Our whole religion is about disagreeing.
This is good guy. Yes.
Isn't that what it's all about?
Yes.
All Judaism is about disagreeing. That's the famous joke. Two people come before the rabbi with a din Torah. So the first guy, Reuven, says his side. The rabbi says, Reuven, you're right. Shimon comes and then says his side. The rabbi says, you're right. The Rebbitzin then says, how can they both be right? And the rabbi says, you're right too. Because everything is about multiplicity of opinions all being valid and legitimate as long as they lead you in the right direction. Is that a problem?
Could be.
Why?
As long as it leads you.
What?
As long as it leads you in the right direction. But what if it doesn't?
Then it wasn't a proper path.
Right.
Right. But we have God. There are mileposts. You know, there are markers. There are signs on the way. If you're following the right path, then we see that you're becoming a holier person. If you're not following the right path, you're not becoming a holier person.
So you see signs.
There's a pasuk Shir Hashem wrote Tedilach Hayafa Ben Hashim Tzilach Bikvei Atzon. If you don't know the most beautiful women, go follow the footsteps of the sheep. And the sheep there are, I believe Chazal say, are the Avos, Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. So in other words, there are footsteps to follow. By this time in history, there are many footsteps to follow, which is all very good, which is the point of history, to develop more and more pathways by which to reach Hashem. So that's one of the major purposes of Golus. So with different people in different lands will develop different pathways.
That includes Christianity?
Well, Christianity had some potential at the beginning, but they messed up. You know, it was originally, when it was still Jewish, it was weird, maybe, but maybe something good could have come of it. But in the end, the good which came of Christianity is, like the Rambam says, it's for the Gentiles, not for the Jews. Right. So it didn't do us much good, but it did the world some good. There was something else I wanted to say. What's so funny?
They're having a good discussion.
Right.
Oh, the other room?
Yeah.
What are they talking about?
I don't know. You can hear them.
Oh.
It must be interesting.
What did I want to say? What did you say? What were we just discussing before the Christians?
Purpose of Gaval, Christianity. Different paths. You have to know.
Oh, yeah. I want to say something controversial.
Keep the camera on.
No, that's what it's fine.
That's not true.
What?
That's not true.
No, but it's one of my pet peeves. This is controversial. But it's a pet peeve, so I'm going to have the camera stay on. Which is it still recording, by the way?
It's still speaking.
I don't know, sometimes battery runs out.
Where's the mic?
We're here with you till the end.
It's not blinking since when?
Okay.
We're here with you till the end.
There is a movement today in the ever diminishing circles of German Jewish Judaism to retain the minhagim, the customs of German Jewish prayer services and German Jewish household minhagim, etc., etc.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, there's somebody in England who's working, and it's been about to put out now for 3 years, about to publish for 3 years, a book with the minhagim of Kehila Kedosha Bechofen, from which the Beckhofers come. I'm just waiting for this book to come out for me to start my own Hasidus. So the first German Jewish Hasidus. Anyway, So there are numerous publications, mostly put out by this fellow Meir Machlin, Rabbi Hamburger, Shorshe Minhag Ashkenaz, about the source of German minhagim and how important it is to retain the German minhagim. And there's a shul here in Monsey and a shul outside. If you go into them, you feel like you're davening in a museum because they have all these interesting and exotic German minhagim which they're following. And I say that it's a tragedy and it's pointless and it's useless. Because since the German derech of Avodas Hashem is dead, there's nobody who's practicing Torim derech Eretz the way Reb Shlomo Polish envisioned it. Reb Shlomo Polish, of course, is only one of the German Jewish rabbis, but basically that derech was the hallmark of German Judaism. So it's dead. It's not here. There's no point in retaining a nusach without a derech. A nusach without a derech is a guf without a neshama. So the whole idea is to have a derech. If the nusach helps preserve the derech, that's great. If the nusach is an extension of the derech, that's great. If you have your derech as the regular Lithuanian yeshiva derech 101, but you're pretending that you're different because you have yekesh davening 202, that's a meaningless thing.
Why is that? Why? Don't we sit to keep your mother's Torah?
What?
Keep your mother's Torah.
So Torah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, yeah. You know, it's nice, but assimilation usually, erodes that over time. What they're trying to do is fight the back. It always happens, assimilation in this respect. And so, like, yeshiva barim get assimilated to Litvish drachim, right? In Eretz Yisrael, the various different Sfardim, they get assimilated into, this monolithic Sephardi approach, which doesn't differentiate anymore between Moroccans and Egyptians and Iraqis and Iranians. They'll all become kind of more or less a single stream. That's natural. It's only worth fighting it if you have some unique quality you want to hold on to. If you're all the same anyway, so you might as well all get together.
But they have this.
Achdus. Hey!
If they're still punctual, then there is something to hold on to, no?
Yeah, the punctuality.
There's so many group of Jews that are punctual.
I can't stand punctuality.
How are you a Yeki, Rabbi?
What?
How are you a Yeki?
You mean, why does it manifest itself?
No, why doesn't it manifest itself? You're a Yeki.
I believe in terms of Eretz.
But there's no punctuality in you.
Right, so what?
Isn't that a contradiction?
My Yekishkeit has managed to eliminate its German aspects. We've transcended them. Baruch Hashem, one can be a Yek and be late.
Sister, anybody who has the German transcendence? The German.
I don't even think my father
You
does.
think
He doesn't?
So
Yeah.
you're saying is it pointless to like wash before you say Kiddush? That's like not point. It's just a matter of.
It's quaint. It's like any other quaint custom. Like you go to Holland, you see people wearing wooden shoes. For the tourists.
Okay.
So that's a very quaint custom, right? There's also a quaint custom.
No, that you shouldn't. If you're German and if you're Yekish and you do that, you shouldn't feel like I'm really preserving German.
No, don't think that for a second.
No.
Yeah.
I hope they probably don't think that.
But I think they do. I think they think that they are. It's what's tragic about it.
But what's the difference? They think that like what is it?
No, you're right. Yeah,
I don't see any difference. They think it's important or if not, they're still doing
yeah.
it.
Well, there is validity to the assumption that it's better for people to fool themselves and think they're doing something meaningful than to point out to them that what we're doing is not meaningful.
No, I'm welcome that.
By keeping the
I
German
welcome that.
tradition alive, maybe there'll be a restoration, renewal of the term Derech Eretz approach. Sooner or later, maybe somebody will get up and listen. We're doing all this.
It started with the Tziosi.
On Mayeki Lenura by the Yeki rabbis. Oh, this is Rafael Hirsch. Look what he says. Oh, let's bring back the movement. So you want to keep the chain going. You don't want the chain to break completely.
Wait, a goal of
Next great meetup. According to your theory,
is this what this is about?
Shema Yachzor
What?
Meetup?
no.
No.
Derech Eretz. What is this? What's going on here? This is confusing.
You missed a controversy.
Yeah, you walked out in the middle. How are you supposed to follow what's going on?
I walk in and people are talking about Derech Eretz. I'm confused.
Not Derech Eretz Midas. Time Derech Eretz, the Yekisha approach to life.
Oh, okay.
You should have sincere. Well, I'll probably be gone by then.
So okay, so
From
you hear.
New York.
But if according to your ideas, according to the rabbi wants it happen. So, and in 20 years from now, there will be no such thing as a Yeki, basically. There will be nobody ever to rid Rav Herschel.
No, but these guys are not going to resurrect it anyway.
But maybe their kids will.
Not because they're davening this way, like the Ekkas.
Maybe some sort of chain going.
That could be. That could be.
Maybe, unlikely.
You don't want a person to come on.
It's a nice limud schus. But one other thing I wanted to say about the Kabbalist thing, I see we're going to have to continue with this tefillah thing. We got almost nowhere tonight. It was exciting, but we got almost nowhere in terms of covering ground. Is that
Lave is the most important.
right? That's true. Okay, you got me. Touché. Stab me in the heart. There's a letter which Baal Shem Tov, which I believe is still extant. Baal Shem Tov wrote to his son-in-law, to his brother-in-law, Gershon Kettiver, about an Aliyas Neshama he had in Rosh Hashanah when he went up to Shemayim and he met Mashiach, and he had a conversation with Mashiach, and what Mashiach said to him, what he said to Mashiach. Now that leaves us with two choices. Only two choices. Either Baal Shem Tov did experience that, or Baal Shem Tov was a charlatan and a trickster and a huckster and a con man.
Okay.
Or you learned Kabbalah too early on.
No, that wouldn't be one of the two. It could be, but that wouldn't make a difference. In other words, it could be should not have had the experience, but he had the experience, right? So by me, I choose the former. I choose to believe that Baal Shem Tov did have the experience.
Correct. You are correct.
The ring bell. Game show.
So to me, it makes more sense. It's more rational to believe that Baal Shem Tov did have this than to believe that he was a charlatan and all these people were fooled by him.
Why?
A lot of people.
What?
Why?
Because the people he fooled were themselves, people who were very focused on holiness.
Sure.
So I can't believe he would have fooled all of them.
Is the part has a lerech?
Who?
The lerech, or it's
Nusach Sfar?
yes.
Nusach Sfar is very broad. Nusach Sfar is mostly Hasidim. They used to have a derech, not anymore.
But they still have the rabbis. That's not.
Yeah, it's not there.
What would be a derech? What is the derech then? What is the derech?
There was a derech Hasidus, but now it doesn't exist so much anymore.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah.
Because they were nowadays.
Right.
But what does a derech mean, or derech hasidus, or what would that mean?
read my article on the topic.
Okay, can we ask a question before we...
Forks. It's on my website. So.
BYG.
We don't have access.
I don't know. It's okay. How long are you staying?
Huh?
How long are you staying?
1 month.
Oh, so for next week I'll bring it to you fine.
Of course.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
Question before we begin. So this week's parsha is parsha Shalach,
Yeah.
and it deals with the covering of the sea.
Uh-huh.
And so there's a out that on Shabbos night, at Hatzot, that's when they say that the sea split. I'm assuming it's tradition. See where we're going with it, right?
No, you're mistaken, actually.
I understand.
Yeah, you're mistaken about where I'm going to go with this.
Alright, good, fine. So here. And you should open the ark and you should say Ad Hashem. And in the morning, they do not have to actually add extra psukim to Ad Hashem.
It's a beautiful thing.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Does it do anything? So
It's a tefillah. It's a beautiful tefillah. It's a beautiful way of serving Hashem.
What did you think? What?
He thought I'd make fun of it because I would say it's like looking at the name of God and not understanding
yes, exactly.
it. You're wrong.
Okay, right?
You said it didn't have any effects, right?
So
What?
It didn't have any effects.
I say it does.
Oh, you
It
did.
has the same effects as any other tefillah.
And any other tefillah. You say Hallel. This is saying Hallel.
It's not different than all the other.
Yeah, but there's an additional tefillah, which is at the right time, at this time, it has an impact upon you because you're going through the emotions of Shabbos Parshas B'Shalach, which talks about Kriyas Yamsuf. Every Shabbos, we believe in laning sets the tone of the Shabbos.
It does.
Of course it does.
What do you mean?
Yes, of course I believe it. You think I'm an apikoros? Don't answer that. It's
No.
It's not. It's true. It's mystically, psychologically, and rationally.
Really?
Yes.
I never really. Okay, my view doesn't mean anything, but I'm just saying, how does a person get to? What should he do to see the connection between the parsha and the Shabbos?
It's there. It's automatic. All your verblach on that Shabbos is going to be about the parsha, primarily at least. Your focus is going to be on the parsha. You don't have to do anything. That's what it is.
But I never felt, like if you like put me into like I was gone for a while and you put me into the part, whatever the parsha was, and I didn't know what it was. I'm like, I wouldn't say, it feels like B'Shalach. I wouldn't.
If you didn't know it was B'Shalach, you might not feel it's B'Shalach.
Well, all I do when it is B'Shalach, I'll read the parsha, I'll discuss it, but I don't feel like a Shabbos.
Because we don't feel anything. We're thick. Nothing penetrates.
How can you feel stuff?
You keep doing it. Sometimes it does.
No, okay.
Sometimes it does penetrate.
Okay, I've never.
That's what Reb Chaim Volozher says. He says that you should learn Torah. It says B'Toch Shelo Yishma Bo Lishma. Says it doesn't mean if you learn Torah. Doesn't paraphrasing. Says it doesn't mean if you learn Torah Shelo Lishma for 10 years, then the next 20 years you learn Lishma. It means when you learn Torah Shelo Lishma for 2 hours, within those 2 hours, it's going to be 2 minutes when you learn Lishma. It makes it all worthwhile. Everything's worthwhile for those 2 minutes in the middle of those 2 hours. So for all those times when you don't have in mind the parsha, the time you have the parsha makes it worthwhile.